Moving On TV. I'm going to be interviewing Lee Dawson. Now, Lee Dawson, fascinating man. And the thing that seems to be happening with the awakening and all of this apocalypse stuff, revealing everything, is that we're getting people that are multi-talented. They seem to be able to do loads of things. They're so creative, holistic. And from what I gather from Lee, he's a holistic nutritionist, holistic therapist. He's going to talk to us a little bit about minerals and how important they are, not just vitamins. But apart from that, he's also part of Charlie Ward's crew. And he's just made a documentary about Gregory Hallet, who has the lineage and is trying to tell us that he could be the new king. So it's absolutely fascinating to talk to people like that because, as I say, the multi-dimensional, multi-creative people, like quite a lot of us, that go out there to realize a lot of their talents at the same time. So it's difficult to know what show to put them on, but it's exciting to interview them. So welcome to Moving On TV, and let's get going on the interview. Hi, Lee. It's lovely to have you on here. How are you today?
How are you doing? Yeah, I'm listening. I'm pretty good. We're really busy at the moment with this new documentary, but it's great to be on your show.
Fantastic. I'm so happy to have you here. You're in Spain at the moment, is that right?
Yeah, it's I'd say about 30 degrees outside.
Actually, it's the same here. It's absolutely boiling hot here in Buckinghamshire at the moment.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, what I was doing an introduction about you and how so many people lately are so multi-dimensionally creative. They do all these different things. And you just sent me some photographs here as well. I just introduced you as someone who is a nutritionist, holistic nutritionist, someone who's involved with Charlie's crew, who's made this incredible documentary about Gregory Hallet. And now you've sent me some photographs here about karate and your history around karate. So do you want to tell us a little bit about where does this all come from? Who are you?
Well, that's a long story, really. I mean, it's like 3 decades worth. But I think my dad must be to blame for this because when I was a kid, do you remember the old VHS video recorders?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, you know, and where I'm from from County Durham, it was very traditional in the working man's clubs where they used to go to the pubs. Not my scene, really. I couldn't, as soon as I had legs, I just got out of Dodge, right? It wasn't my thing. But he came back one day from the pub and he brought this Bruce Lee video. And it was Way of the Dragon with Chuck Norris. That was it. I was hooked. I went outside. I took my mum's broom shank, the hacksaw, and I made myself some nunchucks. I swung it round, I gave myself concussion. My dad found me in the garden, big lump on my head, and he said, listen, if you're going to do this, you're going to do it properly. So he put me in school. So that's when I started learning a Japanese system called the Mugendo system with a guy called Master Darren Pinckney. And it was like a modern karate. So it was similar like kickboxing, but more A to Z refined kicks, you know. And then I developed that from there. I got first degree black belt, second degree black belt, third degree black belt. I got Master of Combat, Master Instructor, International Instructor. And then I got the Black Belt Hall of Fame 2000, 2001, 2002. And then in that time, I started with Fitness First PLC. Do you remember Fitness First?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I started with them when they had like 5 clubs. And when I finished with them, they had 550 clubs.
Wow.
And I used to, yeah, it was massive. Great days as well. I used to write programs for them, and I developed a system called Thai Fit. And Thai Fit was out about the same time as one of the Spice Girls brought one out at the same time. I think it was called Thai Jury. It was Thai Fit, which was ours, Thai Jury, Kaibo, and Billy Blanks' Thai Bo. So these were the 4 or 5 combat sports in the world at the time that were really making a lot of noise. And we had 38,000 people doing our system in 125 gyms every month. So it was a pretty big thing. I mean, from then I went sort of more into gym, bodybuilding, nutrition, health, and it sort of all developed from basically from the martial arts, because I think the martial arts for me was such a base from Japan, where they really educate you on about how your body works. And I learned a system called hyperbolic stretching. Have you heard of this?
No, I haven't. Sorry.
Hyperbolic stretching. Listen to this. This is a lot of people don't know this. But do you know who the most flexible people are on the planet?
Tell me.
Sumo wrestlers. And the
Okay.
hyperbolic system came from the sumo, from like, I think it's 2,000 years old or something. So I learned this system, and it's probably one of the fastest ways to get you into the splits. But there's a good side and a bad side to it. If you haven't got the conditioning in your legs to start with, you can pull a muscle and you can do yourself an injury. So when you do it, it's always good to have the right condition in your legs before you start the program.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, basically, I went into just train people for the Gladiators. I was page 7 fella for the Sun. I did like a spell on modeling and stuff, but I always liked to fight a little bit, so it wasn't really my thing. And then I was working for David Lloyd. When they started bringing out the new flagship David Lloyd, I don't know whether you ever, David Lloyd clubs were very small back in the day. And then in about 1997, 98, I'm not sure if it was bought out, but they kept his name, but they made these enormous David Lloyd clubs where they could hold 10,000 members. I mean, the one I was in Southampton basically had 25 tennis courts outside, 20 indoor tennis courts. It was 3 decks, 2 swimming pools, restaurant, beauty salon, amazing place, amazing people as well.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I met a client there, and he gave me an offer I couldn't refuse. That's how I ended up in Spain. He said, listen, Lee, I'm selling my company, and it's worth X amount of millions. He said, I've got a big boat in Portobello. I've got a big house. I've got Bentleys, Lamborghinis, and I've got a load of animals. He said, if I pay you some money each month, would you go to Spain and look after them, and then you can make your business there?
Oh.
So listen, I've been here 20 years.
Very exciting. Okay, so I can see the connection here with martial arts and everything that you did. Obviously, that works on the mind, the body, and the spirit. So is this how it led you into looking into more about nutrition and minerals? Because I want you to talk a little bit about minerals. We're always very conditioned to understand about vitamins, particularly D3, and C, especially with what's been happening in the last couple of months, which we won't go into. But I'm hearing a lot about minerals, and that without the right minerals in your body, you can't actually break down the vitamins, and you can get calcification in the body. And so how did you get into that? And can you explain a little bit about that?
Well, about 5 years ago, my wife had stage 2 cancer of the uterus, and a very aggressive form. And basically, obviously, the hospital wanted to do the usual bullshit with the chemotherapy and the surgery, which it doesn't work. And I just knew this was like, computer says no. So I looked at, funny enough, THC oil, CBD oil, and I looked at the alkaline diet system from a guy called, what was his name? 1931, Dr. Otto Wahlberg. Listen, there's a lot of cancers, right? He found a cancer, and he cured this cancer. I don't know which one it was, and he got the Nobel Prize for it, and then he was completely forgotten about, and so was the alkaline diet. Now, if your body is in alkaline state, forget about this silly little virus that's just been flying around, this 125 nanometer virus. Forget about that. Talk about something serious, like a cancer or something like life-threatening, right? Basically, if your body is in an alkaline state, there's no disease can spread. It's like it's frozen in time. So this is why I can never understand when you go to hospital, the first thing they should do is look at what you eat, and they don't, right? Yeah. First thing you got to do is take the meat out, you got to take the dairy out, you got to take alcohol out, and you got to take sugar out, and you got to alkaline the body so the cancer can't spread anymore. And then you attack it, and you attack it with THC, you attack it with high dosages of vitamins and minerals, and obviously it's all a lot to do with the brain as well. When a guy comes up to you in a white coat and you trust him, he says, blah 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 blah, Mrs. Jones, you've got cancer. That's it. You've only got your head's gone, and you're just on a downward spiral, right? So you have to be very strong in the mind, and you have to start, asking questions, because these people have not got our health. It's like years and years ago, the doctor, you know, your family doctor really had your health at his heart. That was his but now it's just about commissions and money and one size fits all with these chemicals, right?
Yes.
Nature, listen, they try to hide nature from us, and everything we need is from nature, right? And the body is an incredible
sorry, Lee,
thing.
can you come back to, because it's an amazing story. So how is your wife? Did you work with your wife with all of this?
Well, that's another story, because we got divorced a couple of years ago. But
right.
yeah, she was fine for a long time, and then I mean, this was like 5 years ago. Then we sort of separated, and then I got a call. I think it was last March, the March before, 2 years ago, to go in El Higueron Hospital in Marbella, and she had 3 weeks left to live. She had bone cancer, lung cancer, multiple cancers of the organ, thrombosis, knee, hips, chest, fluid on the lungs, and toxic blood poisoning.
Goodness me. And because I mean, it's a mind, body, spirit thing. I totally believe that we can heal everything, but if we don't get rid of the patterns that we keep repeating, to me, every dis-ease is a dis-ease. It's you have to heal the underlying dis-ease. And so if you can't get rid of those patterns and you can't balance the mind, body, spirit, then you can't heal. You need to, you know, everything has to be in balance. So that's very, very sad.
Well,
sorry about
I took her out of the hospital. I took her out of the hospital, and she had 3 weeks left to live. They said the cancer was in the neck and going into her brain. So I was thinking, wow, this is a hard one. This to do with all the stuff from the kitchen, you know. And I was taking a big responsibility as well. And anyway, 4 weeks went by. She was okay. 8 weeks went by. She was getting stronger. 12 weeks went by. She even started going back to work. So I got her back well enough, but she's done a lot of damage to her organs. So I said, listen, Anna, you know, I'm not doing this a third time. We've been split up for 2 years. She said, yeah, I'll be all right. I'll be all right. But she died about 3 weeks ago, right? And this was like, it was a big shock for me. But I got in touch with her through psychic to ask her what she died of, because the last time we were speaking, she was getting better and she knew what to do. But I remember, and I kept having this argument years ago with one of the doctors, right? She had some mercury fillings, right? And she was from Moldova, right? So Moldova was quite a poor country, right? And she always said to me, when she was about 12 years old, obviously they got no money, so the dentist was knocking all the kids' teeth out and putting these mercury fillings in. Now, if you got molars, right, full of mercury, and you're eating your food, and you're grinding, they start to heat up, right? And you're telling me that's not going down inside.
Of course.
So I argued again with the doctor, no, that's impossible, blah, blah, blah. But when I spoke with the psychic, first thing when the psychic said, she said, back tooth. It's the first thing she said, back tooth. So I think she went and I said, how did you die? And she didn't want to talk about it through the psychic. And Tracy kept saying to me, Lee, if you ask again, she's going to walk away. So I didn't even touch on it, because I think she went in for a procedure and it went wrong, and it probably put her down as COVID-19, I guess.
Yeah.
So
I mean, so Lee, so stop you there. It's a very similar situation with my mother. She was getting well. Every time I would be around her, I would give her healing, the journey work and Reiki, and then as soon as I would go, she'd get sick again. And it was kind of like, again, the patterns. But what you're saying about the mercury is very, very interesting. So can that lead us into the mineral thing? Because people have hair tests done to try and figure out what's going on. If there's too much mercury, then, you know, the body is toxic. I had loads of mercury fillings, and I think that's accumulated and caused a lot of fibromyalgia and issues with me. I got into apricot kernels years and years ago with Philip Day, and I'm very, very healthy, thank God. I learned all about that. Never go to the doctor, touch wood, you know. But coming back to what you were saying about minerals, how does that connect now to staying well with not just taking vitamins? Because from what we're told a lot of the time is you've got to have more calcium. But now we're learning that we're not supposed to have more calcium. We're supposed to have magnesium and things like that. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, your four main minerals is magnesium, calcium, zinc, and phosphorus. Now, if you don't have the right amount of minerals, you can't absorb the right amount of vitamins. So basically, did you know about this company I've been working with for 2 years? Did Charlie mention it?
No, no, sorry.
You're going to love this, right? So
You can
about 2 years ago, I met a lady called Dr. Sonia, right? And she works for a company called Varell's Pharma. But it's not Varell's Pharma as in pharmaceutical. It's
Nothing to do with
completely the opposite, right? And what they designed, they basically said, listen, vegans are not healthy. And the reason why vegans are not healthy is because most people who go vegan, they don't know how to balance the diet correctly. They don't know enough about the nutrition with all the different vegetables to put a balanced diet. The same as vegetarians, and they find out when these people get a lot older, they're starting to get brain issues, right? Because they didn't have the right iron, zinc, and different vitamins. So basically, they designed a food supplement for these people and for everybody, basically, but just to balance the diet. Because even people who eat meat, you know, you can be too acidic or you can be too alkaline. You've got to try and get yourself in the middle, you know, and you've got to understand how your body feels and what you want. So what they designed, I'll show you this, and you'll love this. Can you see that?
Yes. DNA decoded. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So this is like the diamond of
what's
the
in
mineral,
them?
right?
What's in it?
So I'll tell you how this works. So listen. So your methylation system or your methylation system, how it works is every normal person, right? When you absorb food or you're drinking, you're only absorbing 30% of what you eat or drink. So what does that mean? That means basically your organs are always starving, right? I don't know whether a few years ago there was a lot of tests going around where you could test the age of your organs to the age of how old you were. And most of the time an athlete, his organs are like 20, 30 years older because of the free radicals and all the training where you're damaging your body, right? So that's why they always said you should buffer it with vitamin C. And they were saying, oh, no, like you can only take 75 milligrams in one go. That's not true. It depends on your body and how much it uses and how much. If you're sick, you can use thousands of milligrams every hour if you're sick, especially if you've got cancer. Yes. So I stayed with a Russian scientist for 5 days. This is quite an interesting story. And the guy was old, but his skin was amazing. It was really, really, really tight. And he was like a solid guy. And I seen him every morning putting this powder in his drink. And I said, what are you doing? He said, oh, pure ascorbic acid. He said, it's basically vitamin C in its purest form. And he said, it tightens your skin up. He said, it's antiviral, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and it's a modulator. And I went, yeah, can you expand on that? And he said, well, basically, if you're an athlete, like yourself, you should be taking this. He said, because what happens when the train comes into the train station, it acts like a buffer. So it stops creating all the free radicals and makes your body healthy and lasts longer. So getting back to the methylation system, right? So you imagine if we only absorb 30% of what we eat and drink, your organs are starving, right? And they're starting to get old fast. So what happens then? We start to get sick, right? Now they say, right, a human being, right, is supposed to live to 120 years old. And that's not one that's looking after himself, right? That's the standard age. Now, because of the poison in the sky and the poison in the ground and all the crap they're giving us in supermarkets, we're dying too fast. So, and because our organs are getting so old so quick, and this is when we start to get immune system problems. And as soon as your immune system drops, this is when you start getting sick.
Okay.
So this product, right, this product will increase your absorption from 30% to 90%. So what does that mean?
Wow, I need it.
90% absorption, right? Your organs are getting fed. You're getting fed all the enzymes and minerals and nutrients, what they need to work 100%. How do you feel? Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. You sleep better. You've got clarity. I'm in the boxing ring, right? The guy's 30 years younger than me, and I'm doing all right. So that's how good it is.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Do you know what? It's really interesting you're saying all this, because I have been thinking, anytime the mainstream pushes anything, I've always thought there's something not right here for years now. And one thing they've been pushing is veganism. And all the time pushing veganism. Now, I can't be a vegan. When I tried to be a vegan, I nearly passed out. So I have to have a little bit of egg, a little bit of, a little bit of meat, a little bit of everything in moderation. And I have gluten, I've got dairy and everything. But isn't it interesting what you're saying there? Is that it's not actually a natural thing, because I try to put everything out here on Moving On TV. So I'll bring on a vegan and I'll bring on someone who doesn't agree. I'll bring on everyone so they can talk about it and debate it. But my personal feeling is we are all different. And kinesiology, muscle testing, usually works really well, because then you can test what's good for one may not be good for another person. Do you ever use muscle testing, kinesiology in your work?
No, but I'll give you a little idea from where the balanced diet comes from, which comes from like thousands and thousands of years ago. Right, a balanced diet. When someone talks about a balanced diet, it comes from the 4 seasons.
All right, okay.
That's where it comes from. So basically, one season we're foraging around for nuts and stuff. Another season we're eating fruits. Another one we're fishing. And then when it's cold, we're making fires and we're eating meat. So this is where your balanced diet comes from, right? I'll tell you something else what we discovered about the aging process. Now, do you know about your gluteal system? So basically, look at this one, right? This is going to blow your mind. Right, so this one, I mean,
the right way, not the way the celebrities are doing it. We're doing it the right way, the moralistic way, yes.
Yeah, listen, it's got to be done like this. I mean, people need to know, and they need to know what to take, because a lot of people take so many supplements that basically, if you go to any supplement shop, most supplements have claims, right? They claim this product does this, right? We have a lawyer full-time, scientifically proven scientific facts what our product does, and we have to have a lawyer full time because you're not supposed to be able to do this. We found a way around having a full-time lawyer. It works very, very well. Now the detox aging system, the gluteal system, right? This clean detoxes your liver by 2% every month and cleans your body and slows the aging process down to a crawl.
You'll have to give me some for this interview.
Listen, I'll send you some stuff. Now this one, talking about the vitamins and minerals, right?
Yeah.
The protein they're designed. Now let me just tell you about a vegan protein, right? A vegan protein is harder to absorb than ours, and there's a reason for this. This one is hydrolyzed, right? And it's hydrolyzed so fine. It's like a very, very fine sand. You can give this to cancer patients. You can't give normal protein to cancer patients. Now, this has every vitamin and every mineral.
Tumor. I remember reading that somewhere. Protein expands the tumor, doesn't it?
That's correct. Yeah. So this basically has every vitamin and every mineral your body requires in one day.
Fantastic. So how do you test people? Do you do hair tests?
We have basically the two parts of the company. We have the supplement side, and we have the genetic side. And the genetic testing side, basically, we take a spit or we take a blood sample. We can tell you what's wrong with you now and what you're going to have an issue with in the next 20 years, and we stop it from happening.
Right, that's fantastic. I think homeopathy did that for me years and years ago, because I have very, very weak genetics, which I won't go into. But yeah, homeopathy strengthens a lot of the things in me, and it's all vibrational medicine. So this is all very fascinating and exciting. But how did this lead you to working with Charlie Ward and actually making a documentary about the possible new King of England? I mean, as I said, we are multidimensional beings. We're synchronistically being drawn to the people that are opening the doors and helping our world and humanity. But how did that happen? How did you go from there to where you are now? Because this is also very fascinating.
Well, that's about 90 videos and 900 hours of research. And I know you don't want to talk about it, but it basically started when this virus came around. And the first thing I asked the PhD lab, right, with all the team there, and obviously they've trained all over the world, and they have colleagues all around the world. And these people are smarter than a lot of us, right? They've got a PhD in genomics, and they're very clever people, and they're very honest people. Well, the ones I'm working with are honest. And I just asked them, I said, what's this virus thing that's happening in China? And Dr. Sonny just turned around, very honest, and she said, oh, Lee, it's 125 nanometers. And I went, what does that mean? It's a variation of the flu. And I went, yeah, you won't even notice. If you get it, you won't even notice you've had it. Yeah. Right? So then this is how I met Charlie. So this happened, and everyone was panicking. The mainstream media was putting all this garbage out. They clearly didn't understand nothing about what was going on. This was a narrative and an agenda, right? And instead of telling everyone to boost the immune systems up, they were like, oh, no, hide in the house, don't have no vitamin D, and just have the vaccinations. So basically, me and Charlie just started talking about just to each other on a chat in the morning, and then Charlie said one morning, "Should we record this and just put it out to see if anybody else is thinking the same way?"
Yeah.
And then 90 videos later, we went from the virus, we went to the vaccination, we went to the 5G. We had various scientists on the show, biologists, so many interesting people. It was really, it was a beautiful journey. And then all of a sudden one day, we had this, we all had signs, right, which was really weird. We all had these strange signs. There was David Mahoney, there was me, there was Jack Kidd, and there was Charlie. And all of a sudden, this King John III came up, Gregory Hallet, right? And we all sort of got news about him more or less at the same time, but from all different sources, which was unusual. And then we all started speaking about it, and then we said, right, let's get him on the show. And Charlie had just been blocked on Facebook for something he put out there. You know, he posted the truth and they blocked it. And the same with Jack, he did something. So I was the one in the middle. I had to connect the dots, put them together through another platform we were using. And we had Gregory Hallet on the show the next day on Charlie Ward's show. And this is how it started. And then the information he was pumping out, because there was so much knowledge, and he would go off in tangents and he would lose people. You know, so everyone was probably thinking, this guy's a bit of a nutcase. He's saying he's Christ, he's did that and the other. But when you actually listen to what he says and you understand what he says, he's a very, very, very intelligent man. Okay, so we got Dave on to ask him some serious questions and try and keep him on the same path, right? So he wouldn't go off. And then Dave was that impressed with his answers. We had a little chat, and within I don't know, a 24-hour window, we had to work out how to get to the UK under lockdown restrictions.
Yeah, I saw that bit. Oh, I love that bit at the end where you took off the mask, tore it up, threw it in the bin, and told them to, you know, I don't say I'm moving on TV. What you said, but
oh yeah,
brilliant. It's exactly the way that I feel. A lot of us are feeling. What a load of rubbish! That was fantastic. Absolutely. A load of rubbish. The things they've told us. So in their face. So that was absolutely brilliant. So you met with Gregory, and you saw all his lineage. You saw all the huge amount of scientific work he's done, huge amount of research. Now, when someone does that, when someone spends their whole life doing all of this, to me, they've got to be genuine, or else why would they do it? You know, why would people put all their energy into so much research and checking so much out and presenting it? You're either a complete nutcase and you're just living in illusions, or you're actually telling the truth. And nowadays, it's usually that you're telling the truth. So how do you feel? Do you think that Gregory could actually be who he's saying he is, the king?
Well, I spend a lot of time with Greg, and for me, what a great man. I learned so much while I was there. I learned so much about the breeding with the royal family from the last few hundred years. All the nasty side to what was going on as well. There was so much information. I mean, he had 800 pages of files which he's put out to various governments around the world, contesting the royal family. And for me, you know, when you see, I don't know, I was a big fan of the Game of Thrones, right? Did you ever watch Game of Thrones?
No.
Oh, listen,
I didn't like the way it was made. I didn't like the violence and stuff, so no, I didn't.
I like a bit of violence, see, but old-fashioned violence with swords and horses. Well, he to me is like an old-fashioned king, but not like in the violence side. I mean, an old-fashioned king in how he sees things. Like, he believes the king is for the people, right, and not the other way around. So he wants to do good for the people. And the time I spent with Greg, I mean, the respect I have for the man, for what he's gone through, for what the governments have done to him, what the royal family have done to him. I mean, they've bankrupted him, they've done all kinds of stuff to keep him hidden. You know, I've also read the files on, I don't know, was it 13? Over 13 different attempts on his life, tampering with his car, poisonings, and he's got all these actually stamped in court with judges, and he's wrote a lot of interesting books as well.
Yeah, I heard that. Sorry to stop you there. Charlie actually said that while you were driving down there, it looked like someone was trying to actually hit you with a car or something. That when you were actually there, he mentioned that in one of his talks. That looked like someone was actually following or tried to hit Greg in some way.
There was maybe from his side when he was coming down. I mean, listen, they had I think the last time they had some kind of issue was about 6 months ago. But yeah, there was some funny things going on. But you know, I've been in security for a long time as well. I've done all kinds of different things around the world, and I didn't feel at one time that we were under any kind of threat. I felt like we were in a divine bubble of protection. I mean, from when we got to the airport, right? Me and Dave and the cameraman, Dave, we didn't see one policeman. We didn't see one policeman, and we were in locations all over the UK, and we didn't see one policeman the whole time.
Right, right. So what's your personal opinion? I mean, as I said, he sounds really incredible, sounds very genuine, very exciting. But your personal opinion, your gut feeling inside, do you really believe that this is actually the new king?
For me, yes. I feel for me, and he is very kingly. But if you just look at the other side, right? So you've got the Queen, who's been played by her double, and her name's Mrs. Sanderson, right? And then you got Andrew. He's up for paedophile charges in the US. You've got Charles, who's the runt of the royal family, and his double that's been on this video. Did you see this double of Charles? Is absolutely ridiculous. Doesn't even look like him or speak like him.
I heard they've been executed. Sorry, there's Utsava. There's an actual psychic that comes on the lot, and she said they've already been executed. Charles and the Queen have been executed, and the same about what you said about Andrew. He's been extradited. He will be extradited.
Well, we got news of Prince Philip while we're there that he died 6 weeks ago, and from the royal media, and they wouldn't release it to the media press because everyone was terrified with the coronavirus. They didn't want to cause another panic. But I mean, they've just shown that the whole royal family is Nazis anyway. The whole bloodline are German.
Yes, this is kind of so leading into the next question. So you feel deep down inside that Gregory could be genuine and not just an amazing storyteller or an
exciting just because I've spent time with him, I feel like there's a massive change coming in the world. I really do. Because we had some things happen to us while we were there, and some amazing things. And I don't want to go into the things because people go, yeah, right. But obviously, when my ex-wife died, she basically died, and I got the psychic to contact her, and not just about the tooth. She actually gave me some information. The second thing she said, trust in what you're doing, right? And this was the mission to go and see Greg. Then she said, black suit, blue tie, which Greg is in this photograph with a black suit, blue tie. And she gave me these numbers, which was 1038 and 1242. And it's in the Bible that Christ is coming and to end all slavery in the world, which I think Donald Trump's doing a good job of right now.
Yeah. The Christ is inside each and every one of us as well. We're all growing together in this consciousness.
But I'll tell you one thing that happened while we were there. I'm probably not supposed to say it, but I'll sneak it out. But we were filming in this park, right? I'm not mentioning the name of the park. It was full of people, children playing. There was some guys playing sport to our right, people were walking on the left. And because it was on a little bit of a hill, we had a crosswind coming in, and it was messing around with the mics. So we were there for a good few hours trying to wait for a little bit of the breeze to stop, film. And so it was like this. While we were filming there, and this is no word of a lie, because this is actually in the documentary as well. All of a sudden, right, so imagine this, we're filming away, all of a sudden, 6 or 7 immaculate ravens which is the landed around us, right? This is true, this, and I was like, wow. And they weren't scruffy birds. They looked like they had velvet suits on.
Wow.
And then they were watching Greg, and when we left the location, they were flying over him. They were basically following us through the village. And that was only one thing that happened. There was many things happened to us while we were there. I mean, the signs were slapping us in the face, you know, like wow.
It's an incredible time to be alive. It's wonderful. Everything has been on Earth. Everything is happening for a reason. We're all changing all over the place. So we're changing and lots of people are waking up. But why do you think people are not waking up? Why? What is stopping them? I'm not talking about the media and the madness and people being glued to everything. If the media doesn't tell me, it can't be true. What do you feel is stopping people from waking up? What is it that is inside them that is stopping them from actually accepting these changes? And
I think there's
especially with the nonsense around this flu bug.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you obviously you got the media side, right? I mean, if you throw the television out the window, 90% of the world's problems will go away, right? So we understand that. But you've also got people who, if I go back to where I'm from, and nothing changes from my town, you know, like I'm in Marbella, it's international community. I travel here, there's lots of things happening. When I go back to my town, it's like still set 1,000 years ago. Everyone's still doing the same thing, and there's not much really changing then. I think, you know, when I was one of them kids that were like, oh, no, I don't fit in. I didn't fit into that society. Get a job, go to the pub, get married, have kids, diddly, that wasn't me. I was a rebel, I had to go. So I think you have this kind of people who like the security, who just, they have the blinkers on. They just want to go to work. They want to earn the money. They want to go back. They want to see the wife. They want to play with the kids. And that's their little thing. And a lot of them are just scared to look out in the world to see what really, really is going on. And we have been in a dark place for a long, long time now. A lot of people don't know it. I mean, I think we've got now 32% of the world's population now has woken up.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I think before we started with the virus, I think we're on 5%. So now we're at that, they say you only need 10 million people to start making the vibration movement. So we're well over that now. And, you know, we just heard as well, I mean, a lot of the Sicilian and Italian mafia have been arrested. There's so many arrests going on around the world, and people are phoning Charlie up and saying, mate, you were right, what you've been telling us for weeks and weeks, it's starting to come true. So I think a lot of people, you know, they walk around with the blinkers on. They don't want to see this. And I think, you know, for the people who take the red pill, here we are, right? We're talking about it. So the people who take the blue pill, they're happy. But the problem is, I think they're going to be stuck. They're going to be stuck in the old world.
Yeah, they won't move on. A lot of people will be left behind. So actually, there's another question just came to me there as you were talking. And thank you for it's really incredible interviewing you. It's so positive and so full of amazing news and very exciting to talk to you. But when you started to wake up, if you were anything like me, I mean, I've been probably I've been red pilled a long time with medicine. I knew that we were in a war. I just knew that we were in a war when I looked at cancer for years and years ago. But I became very red-pilled about 4 years ago. I was in a wheelchair, I had an accident, and I started watching all the Pizzagate, and bit by bit became more and more red-pilled. And in the beginning, it was such a shock. It was like there was no one to talk to. I didn't know who to talk to. But nowadays, I got into Isaac Cappy. He was my mentor. I was in Cappy's crew, you know, Isaac Cappy. He was knocked off by Tom Cruise, and he highlighted a lot of Epstein stuff. So that, I made a lot of friends that way. So the question I'm trying to ask here is, in a roundabout way, is when you first started to get red-pilled, how did you deal with it? Because you've got a lot of people, as you say, it's amazing that such amount of people are waking up every single day. But can you give some direct positive experiences to people that are confused and they're not sure what to do because the heart chakra is opening and they don't understand it, particularly men? So, and you come from such a background, as you say, which is interesting, such a masculine, you know, strong background of fighting and karate and, you know. So how can you direct the ordinary guy on the street that's suddenly watching this stuff and suddenly waking up and feeling? How did you do that when it first started to happen to you?
I'd say with the travesty of the Bruce Lee death and his son, that was the first. I said, this doesn't seem right. You know, Bruce Lee, before he got to be a superstar, died just before Enter the Dragon came out, which made him a legend, right? The same with his son, Brandon Lee. And I used to train Dolph Lundgren, the actor. You know Dolph Lundgren?
Yes, yeah.
So he used to live in Marbella. I used to train him. And he made a movie with Brandon Lee called Showdown in Little Tokyo, I think it was called. And I asked Dolph, I said, hey, what do you think that happened on the set? I mean, this doesn't normally happen. And he didn't want to talk about it. And basically, I think it was the movie Crow, right? So basically, Enter the Dragon was the last movie Bruce Lee made, but he never saw it. He never saw it in the cinema. He died before he went to coma, right? His son, Brandon, again, was at that level when the big A-lister movie came out, and he died. And what happened was, apparently when they were, I think it was a shootout scene. I'm not sure whether they had you know, when the blood flies out and the special effects explode out, you know, I think they had it the wrong way around and it went into him. I don't know or he got I don't know the whole story about it, but it wasn't right. This doesn't happen to two of them like this.
No,
so that was the first thing I started questioning.
Is that a sacrifice? That
it's weird. It didn't make any sense. They were both my idols and heroes, both of them. So, and then what really gave me the red pill was the 9/11. And I was in actually David Lloyd when I watched that happen. I actually thought it was a new movie. I didn't realize it was the news. And I said, "Is this a new movie?" I said, "Wow, that really looks exciting." There's Bruce Willis in it, you know. And one guy said, "No, it's the news. It's happened. They've just hijacked a couple of airplanes and smashed them in the towers." And I went, "That is impossible." And I said, "I'll tell you why it's impossible." I said, "I work with a lot of the military guys. Do you think you could fly an airplane for like 30 seconds over American airspace without being shot down? Not a chance." Right? And then I saw all the stuff about the holograms. Now, and I know a lot of pilots, and David Mahoney's a pilot. He'll tell you this. If you fly an airplane into a building, right? First thing that drops off the wings is the 1,000-pound engines. They go straight down. They do not go into the building, right? And if you watch the replay, it's like a hologram. It goes zoop, zoop. It goes in, out. In, that doesn't happen. The engines go straight down.
It's a film.
So this was a big thing for me. And I think if you're going to wake somebody up, it's best to go back and look at all the evidence, and especially the one on the Pentagon, when they said an airplane hit that. If you actually look at the circle, David can explain this amazingly because he's a pilot, how you would have to fly this plane to come around at that level to hit that window, right? And then you've seen the debris afterwards. It was like a garbage truck just emptied the rubbish out on the lawn, right? And if there's one video in particular, you see it's a mishap. And that's basically what happened when the Alliance was basically going to take out the cabal the first time. And I think it was about the $3 trillion that went missing, and it was in that office, and they had to get rid of everything in that office. Mm-hmm. So they had the.
sorry, Lee. As you're explaining things, but can you just very quickly just explain what did that do to you when you started to realize? I mean, I'm Jewish, okay, and I learned from the tiny age. I grew up in Israel. I learned about the Holocaust from about 7 years old. I was explained to me all this horror that happened to the Jewish people. So I grew up knowing about cruelty. I grew up knowing about evil. You know, I don't want to go into that too much, but I was already conditioned. But a lot of the ordinary people, the human race, are not conditioned. They thought they were living in a world where it only happened, these evil things happened, you know, in countries with dictators and stuff like that. Now we're learning that it's actually our own governments. it's the own people. It's the Western world that is so cruel. So yes. How did that touch you? How did that make you feel when you realized that what you're living in, that they died. Such cruelty, because that's what I'm interested in, is how can you help the people that are waking up now so that they can be cushioned in some way? Do you understand what I mean?
I don't think they should be cushioned. I mean, for me, I've always been a little bit of an investigator. If you tell me not to do something, I'll do it. You know, if you lock me up in a room, I'll escape. You know, I'm one of them people. I'm not going to just sit there and do as my told if someone says, and I've never believed in politicians. I thought they were all a bunch of liars and crooks. And the first time when Donald Trump went into power, I didn't even like Donald Trump. It wasn't even, you know, I thought he was a bit irritating. But then when I seen what he was doing, I'm thinking, why don't they put these businessmen in charge of every country and get rid of all the politicians? Because the politicians are the ones that cause all the problem with the colours, with the wars. It's these guys that are making us fight each other.
Unite and divide us.
I think, listen, you're going to have people who are going to say, yeah, right, okay, blah, blah, blah. You're talking out your ass. You know, the government wouldn't do this to us. And then you're going to have the other people. Are you for real? So it's a hard one to answer, really, because I think you have to have it in here to do your own investigations and your own research. And I think it's very important for when these people tell us, I mean, listen, especially anything from mainstream media, they're liars. You can't trust. They haven't got anything right in 20 years. Same as the WHO, CDC, they're all liars. It's all fake news. So you have to basically start researching yourself. And I think the way I've been the way my journey has gone, and I've met all these scientists and different people, it's just given me that ability to look from a different angle and think, well, listen, I know that's complete horseshit. And I've worked with some very powerful people. I've trained princesses from around the world, and I've seen a lot of different cultures, and I've seen, you know, when you sit down with really important people, that's met really important people, and they tell you these little stories, and you go, wow, you know, that's really interesting. And a lot of people haven't got this information. You know, they don't read enough, and I mean, I'm a bad one. I don't read enough books, and you should read a lot and educate yourself a little bit more. But I think for that question, it's so difficult. It's just got to be down to the person. If that person's open-minded and can just think, right, okay, well, maybe he's telling the truth, but you know what? I'm going to do a little bit of research myself and check it for myself. And that's what we basically did with the Charlie Ward videos. We basically said, listen, go out and research it. You can check this website, you can check that. Just don't take our word for it. Research it yourself, and don't take the word of the politicians and the medical doctors and the mainstream media. Look it up yourself.
Yeah. Thank you for that. It's been an extraordinary interview. Hopefully we'll come back again with another one, because you've got so much incredible insight, and it's wonderful talking to you. I just want to finish with a tiny segment where you can give us just a happy little segment. And I'm going to cut that as well and put it in the happy news. It's very innocent, and, you know, just to send that out. So like just maybe 2 minutes of a happy little story, or something that, you know, to give people some hope, because I love, as you said, there's all these great things happening anyway, and we just have to be able to look outside the box and watch all the great things that are coming. So what can you tell people, that just to give them a bit of hope in about 2 minutes? just quickly, happy news.
Well, from all of our research and contacts, we've basically, I can't remember if it's 196 or 206 countries have signed up to NESARA, just our new government. I don't really know a lot about this, but, you know, Charlie's explained a lot, and I've listened a lot, and basically, the world's debt is going to disappear. There's trillions and trillions of dollars in these dragon bonds, which have been basically wiping all the debt out. The US, China, and all the countries will have the debt wiped out. And they're saying, what does that mean? Partly, I don't know, in 6 months, in a year time, maybe sooner. Partly in countries it's already happening. You're going to wake up and your mortgage is going to be gone. Now, we just seen something in Spain the other day, which was like, we didn't think, you know, because it's quite a communist country here, right? And we've probably had it the worst, like Italy, for the lockdown. And the good news on that, even two people actually called Charlie up and he said, Charlie, you're right, what you were saying. I've just seen it in a new job going out for cleaning up the beaches, €3,000 a month, right? Cleaning up the forests, 3,000. That's a good wage, man. That's a good wage, right? €3,000 a month. Now, the big one is going to be the ocean, right? Imagine how many jobs that's going to create. And then when all the countries go 1 for 1, so make sure you gather some pennies from different countries so you get a nice exchange rate. When they go 1 for 1, like you think about those African countries, how many educated people and teachers are they going to need there to put the infrastructure in from the beginning?
Mm.
We're in for a beautiful new world. The whole business, the Sara Jassara government, the change is going to be immense. And I just hope people go into the new world and don't be locked into the old world. People need to take the blinkers off, take the red pill, relax. Everything is going to be great.
Thank you. It sounds wonderful, Lee. I'm so looking forward to it. Thank you so much for coming on to Moving On TV. Just one more question before we go. What is your big dream?
Pardon?
What is your big dream? Is there anything you haven't done yet that you still would like to do? Because it seems like you're like, go out there and you do it.
I have so many. Because before we did this documentary, we were in the middle of starting a new movie, right? And I got a little role there as a sort of a Russian hitman. So I could actually put my martial arts on the screen. It was always a childhood thing for me to do. Listen, I'm not an actor, I'm not an A-lister, but I can fight and look okay on the screen. And I always fancied doing that. So we were supposed to start that at the beginning of lockdown, and obviously, you know, the plans were changed. And then obviously Gregory Hallet came, and we've rushed the documentary first. So I would really like to finish this movie with David Mahoney, which would be really nice. So that was always a childhood dream. And for me, on the other side, you know, I'm a bit of a flip-flop lad. I like a bit of a pina colada. I like the beach. I like the easy life, the sunshine. And I'm living in a dream right now, to be honest. I've got 3 big dogs. I live in the mountain. I've got panoramic views. I've got a lake down there. I'm 10 minutes from the sea. This is a dream for me.
I'm coming to visit. Thank you so much, Lee. It's been such a pleasure. I look forward to seeing what other incredible things you're going to get up to. By the way, how can people get in touch with you about the nutrition side?
That's a good point, Sue. I never really, because I was doing all the cancer stuff, which was more, you know, it wasn't something you could, it's a difficult one because I didn't used to put it out there, you know, and I just ended up starting to help people through it. But the company we work with, I mean, if you want to get hold of me through them, is varelstpharma.com. So www.varelstpharma.com. And that's where you can get all of our fabulous food supplements to balance your diet. We've got the anti-aging stuff, everything.
Well, send me the link because I'd love to interview them. I want to find out more. Anyway, it's wonderful, as I say, to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming on to Moving On TV. So tell us about those supplements. There's no chemicals, nothing dangerous. Because when you go to these these shops and they're selling vitamins, they're coated in rubbish, talc, and all sorts of stuff, you know. And you also said that they're what, €20 for a month's supply?
Between 20, it depends what you get. We've got DNA balancer, we got decoder. They're about 25, 30 euros for a month's supply. That's all natural. Basically, what you know, when your body starts to get older and it depletes all the things, what we're doing is putting like a little battery up your bum, making the absorption and everything work properly again, but naturally.
Wow. That's incredible. So, you know, so just very quickly again, this little codicil, because this is so incredibly important. So we talked about mercury, and a lot of older people, because they used to have everything, every time you went to the dentist, they pack you with mercury, and then you suddenly realize that mercury is creating mental illness, and you know, the Mad Hatter with the mercury, because they used to use it in hats. What's the best way to detoxify then? Is that supplement going to help to get that mercury out of the body when the teeth are breaking down? And
oh, for sure. Yeah, it'll clean the body. With the detox one, it is designed to get all the metals out of your body. And I'll tell you some of what's really good, what they've made. Can you see this one with a little green eye?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one, the girls love this one. I mean, listen, I take it for me. You know how Botox works, right?
Yeah.
Right, well, this is disgusting. You don't want that. And all the girls end up looking the same. Same when they pump up the lips and all that. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Right. So what Varels did, they have you heard about hyaluronic acid?
I don't know enough about it, but go on.
But hyaluronic acid now, if you look at all the mainstream commercials, they're on about hyaluronic acid in the cream and putting it on your face. Well, apparently it doesn't go in through the skin. It's impossible. You have to absorb it. So they've developed this hyaluronic acid capsule. And listen to how this works. You take the capsule, after about 22 days, you notice the difference. It basically puts water back underneath the skin and makes it more elasticity, right?
Yeah.
It tightens your skin up. So your skin becomes more elastic, right? And it tightens up naturally. And so all your lines become a lot finer. And that works after about 22 days.
That's fantastic. So yeah, that's lovely to hear that. I just wanted to add that in. And as you say, so the best way to get these products is through that website, which you're going to give me a link so people can connect, because I'm really interested in looking into that. Thank you very much, Lee. Okay. Every person that comes on here and supports us, because we're the new mainstream. Me and Charlie, we're the new mainstream. I'm producing everything I can think of, comedy, entertainment, whatever, so to take over, to get on that box so that people have got a choice and they can watch everything. So it's wonderful to have you, your beautiful personality. Lovely to have you on board. Thank you so much, Lee. Take care. Have a beautiful day. Bye.